Good evening and welcome everyone to the Sustainability Advisory Board meeting on Monday, June 5th. Calling the meeting to order and recognizing that we do have quorum tonight. There is no one present for public comment, so we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the May 1st meeting. I would entertain a motion to accept them.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor of approving as written?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are going to move number 4 down on our agenda as need be. The person who will be addressing us is running a little late and isn't here. So we'll move right on to number 5, which is discussion of the UW-Oshkosh Sustainability Findings Report. The wonderful class that Dr. Laura Hartman and her senior students had written this report for us. And it is 40 pages, so I know, I assume we've all digested the entire content several times. But we did want to just, first of all, recognize the wonderful work that they did, and very appreciative. Of course, they had presented to us a couple of months ago, but then they wrote this before they all graduated and took off. So, did anybody have any comments on any portion of this? Anything that you especially liked or would like to discuss or share?
But the tablet things that they're putting in the buses, that sounds like a really good idea. That makes sense.
Okay, can you fill us in a little bit more on that?
Is it? It's.
On pages 11 and 12, I know
I am
that.
thinking so. I'm slow on powering this thing up. It's, but it's on the tablet, not on the hard copy. So.
The fact that we're a leader in public transit and only Madison has a better system, I liked that part.
Well, it's where they're going to put the tablets to figure out where the loads are and stuff like that. If I read that correctly.
About the BRT system?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the high-use routes will have larger bus shelters and less wait time for the buses. And did you have a chance to look through this too, Adam, or no?
I did not.
Okay. And I have to confess, I have not memorized it yet. But it, especially in Wisconsin, where we tend to have inclement weather, it's really nice if they have shelters where they're needed and we don't have to pay for them other places.
Particularly since many of the people that ride the bus need shelter. You know, you see women with children and all such of things.
Exactly, yeah. I think probably anybody in Wisconsin in the middle of winter can use some shelter if they're outside. I found a lot of the waste information very interesting, how organic waste can be diverted from the landfill, and of course, some of this is already being done, but talking about how the energy can be collected and used, which I'm sure Michelle has lots of information on that we've had in the past and will continue to have. And they did make a proposal to open the university's biodigester as an organic waste drop-off site, but that's also something that we're looking at as part of our sustainability plan update. So we may have some additional information on that in a month or two, too. So they did a great job on that. I'm just kind of skimming through here. It's like it was all wonderful information, and there was a lot of it. I liked the way they talked about how the plants filter water and how our ecosystem is protected by the shoreland plantings that have happened along the Menominee, along the Lake Winnebago shoreline, which is very important. And anyway, I don't know, did anybody else have any parts of it you especially liked? Or okay, well, we can definitely use this as reference material for our ongoing project of updating the sustainability plan that we're all working on. And so do keep this in mind as a resource because it's 40 pages of goodness there. Okay, well then, let's move on to the PACE Wisconsin Letter of Support update. And you have that for us, Stephen, right?
Yes. So at the last meeting in May, I remember we had looked at the letter that was drafted, and it sounded like members of the board were okay with it. There was just a small change that staff made. I know Mr. Kalmbach had a question about PACE, and he was asking about how much of a savings would result through PACE. And I talked to Elizabeth down in our office, and we don't really quantify it. At least we don't have we can't put a quantity to it right now. But it's basically a third-party tool that is used to fund alternative energy, in developments, and the gap that would result in the anticipated savings from using renewable energy would be used to pay back the loan. It's a low-interest loan through PACE. It's administered through the county if they adopt enabling legislation, but then there's PACE, who has third-party banks and people to finance the loans. So that's the information I had, and I did follow up over email with members of the board. I was going to make one more change and then send this letter out this week to the county. So that's what I have for an update on that. So I really can't put a quantity to, because I know the projects are so different, they're unique. But third-party system, and it's not, the city doesn't have to worry about funding anything, and the county doesn't fund it. It's through PACE. They worry about administering the program and then dealing with the third-party financiers.
Okay, excellent, thank you. And I know Jason was very interested in that, and I'm glad you got that out. He is out of town this week, which is why he's not here tonight, but he did check in with me an hour ago just to help me remember that he was gone. Okay, the next thing is our Green Tier score sheet, an update and discussion on that. And I see you've handed out the score sheet.
Yes. So this too, I updated this because I know there's a little bit of confusion at the last meeting. We had some zeros, we had some NAs for areas that we were not currently working on. So I tried to eliminate the NAs because it was pretty much the same thing. A zero means that we're not working on it right now. It's not something that's a failure. It's just a matter of we're not working on it at this point. And I guess what I was wondering is, before we submit this to Green Tier, if we wanted to establish some goals for 2018 in areas that we are not working, if you see something that maybe you know more about or something that we might be able to pursue as a community with the score sheet. So I tried to update it a little bit before this meeting, and then that's what you see in front of you.
Okay, I see this is another wonderful resource for us while we're updating our sustainability plan. Did you all get the email that gave us all the different annual reports for sustainability from, I believe it started with 2009 or 10? They were all sent as attachments. We did
Yes.
send that to everyone.
Yep.
If you don't find it, it had a lot of attachments, so it may not have made it through everybody's email servers. If you do not find that, let me know and we'll send it to you individually one at a time.
Yep.
Because it's a lot of good information, and basically what it is a summary that from before Elizabeth joined us, it was Robin, and Robin had started doing when we started doing State of the City, she was writing an annual report that basically collated all the information from the different departments in the city and put all that information in one place so that we could present it to the public more easily at the State of the City. But it also gives us a wonderful resource to go back now and look at what year this was accomplished and this was accomplished, and so we can now check that off on our sustainability plan as we're updating that. So
The rating system is pretty obvious, but would it be useful to put it in? 5 is the best and 0 is not started or something?
I know with them, trying to think, because it's
pretty
like
clear, but
it's like they give you if you're doing it, you get a certain number of points. I know, like with the League of American Bicyclists certification, I think there is sort of a gradient. You get like 0, you get 3, or maybe 6 or something. if I remember. I know there's like different levels based on the level of certification. But
Well, I question if we need that because on the left where it says maximum score, that varies for each different,
yes,
so it's not really a 1 to 5 scale.
No,
It's
it's not.
more like a percentage of the maximum score or something.
yeah, it's like you get the points or you don't based on what you're doing, and then you tally up the points at the end, and based on the maximum available, and you see what your score is. But yeah,
They gave us more points on one than the max.
Hey, we are really good.
We're really good at that. Transportation system management on the second page. In preservation and improvement, the last one on there. Max score says 3, our score says 5. So it's really good with identifying 4-lane roadways with fewer than 20,000 vehicles per day. We excel.
So if we want to review this outside of here and provide feedback,
Yeah, you can.
are we to assume anything that's okay now is going to be okay next year? I'm just saying I don't have enough background to be able to know on 60 different line items whether or not we're actually still doing that or not.
Right now, I mean, I think, yeah, if we're actually doing it, we can assume that we're gonna maintain it for now, and I'll talk to Elizabeth too to follow up and get her opinion, but I think that's okay, and then we can just, for stuff that we're not working on, for sure, if you see anything that maybe we can pursue, then
Right.
we can add that. This is more of like a baseline, so like starting out, since we just adopted the program this year, it's kind of nice to establish a baseline and then see, can we go up from here, basically. That's the idea, anyway.
Would you like us to put this on next month's meeting to assign some goals, which I assume are numbered scores again, right? So our goal would just be the maximum score for everything. Because we want to be perfect.
Or if, we could even see if there's things that we're already doing, like water protection, establish 75-foot natural vegetation zone by surface water. We've done that. I know.
Yes, I think if we all just kind of read through this again as we're going through the sustainability plan, it's the perfect time to do this. So maybe we could all try and fill in some goals as we see things that pertain to whichever section we're working on. I don't expect everybody to do all of it, but
Yeah.
if we do, we'll just that's fine too. We can always just take the average or whatever, take the average score.
On page 4, when they have check, what does that mean?
That there, I think, is something we have to verify as staff. I believe we have to look
Oh.
into
In
that.
other words, you will check on it.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like a check mark done.
That's something I'd have to check with our, I
Actually, I think it probably is, but we need to find out for sure, right?
Sure, yep.
To get them.
think that one I'll have
numbers.
to check with our electrician, see if that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah, I see we have some question marks too. So again, that's the
few
same
that
as
we-
check, I'm guessing, right?
Yep, that we weren't sure about if we're doing those yet, or,
Yeah, and I know for sure one of your question marks for water and wastewater infrastructure management, page 5 of 8. The wastewater biogas captured and used in operations that we are doing. That's going to the UW Oshkosh biodigester.
oh, okay, so we are, okay.
Yeah, so the biogas is captured and it's being piped to the biodigester for.
And is all of it pretty much? Like, would that score a 5?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's all the methane from it is going to the
Sure.
digester to be used for energy.
Good.
I think we should put our goal as a 5 then. Yeah, and a lot of these, I guess we could probably, whichever section we're working on, we could just contact the head of that department and double check stuff too.
Sure, okay.
I don't think I was assigned since I was gone.
I don't
Do
think you
any of
were
them?
either, but
No.
I
But
I
I
have a way
should
to
know.
help that.
I'm sure you do.
You're welcome. Okay, well, any other comments, questions, concerns, discussion, thoughts? Seeing none, we will move on. Our next item is the urban beekeeping ordinance brochure, which I did pass out. This is obviously just a, first draft, so if there's something you see missing on here or whatever, I mean, don't you love that picture? I did not take that personally. I did steal that off the internet because I'm not getting that close to bees. But I know some people like to, so. The urban beekeeping in the city of Oshkosh, basically the front page, I rewrote a little bit, but I pulled all of this information directly out of our ordinance. And the paperwork that went from the city manager to the council and from planning to the city manager in order to make this happen. So I know all the information in here is accurate. There may be typos. In fact, I just saw one. I would appreciate people telling me if you see those. There may be things that don't make sense because I was kind of cutting and pasting.
Overall, just looking at it, and not having gone through, I think you did a wonderful job. I think it's an excellent brochure.
Thank you, Lauren. That was my goal, yeah. Just the facts. It could probably stand another picture or two. I've got some white space going on here, and I probably should put the city logo on it. I need to double check our standards for that. But if you want to take these with you and read through it, if you do find anything that you, grammatically, anything at all, or if something just doesn't sound right to you, let me know in the next week or so, and then I'll send it on to you so that we can pass that on.
Okay.
All right, well, that was easy. Okay, because I did not make it to the Sustainable Communities Network meeting on June 1st, although I had planned to attend. Stephen, that means the entire update falls on you because you did make it, right?
Yeah. And that went pretty well. We got together, there's a handful of people there. I don't know if it was like 5 or 6 people. And I discussed our beekeeping ordinance because that had been passed since the last Sustainable Communities Network meeting.
Which had been held about February 1st or so.
I think it would have been after
March?
I started, so maybe March, somewhere in there, late February or March.
Yeah, it's about every 3 months. So
Yeah.
yeah, you were here just about, that was one of your first meetings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that went pretty well. One of the things that they're kind of working on is trying to think about how to get more people to come to those meetings because there's a lot of people on the list, but not a lot of people that show up. And they're also talking about somehow doing, I know when you were there at the last meeting, Margie, they had talked about some kind of an event, I think some kind of educational thing that they're still trying to work on. But other than that, the main thing was discussing the beekeeping ordinance, and they had a few questions about the level of outreach the students did, because I know the UW-Oshkosh students were heavily involved with that. And so I had a few things to follow up with them on, but otherwise it went pretty well. And the town of Greenville talked about some of the stuff that they're working on with rain gardens and stuff, so.
Greenville was the host this
Yes.
time.
Yep.
And I know you know what it is, Lurton, because you've attended meetings in the past. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Sustainability Communities Network is a group of people from Oshkosh, Neenah, Menasha, Greenville, East Central is represented. I think there's probably a dozen entities that at some time in the past have participated. And so it's kind of a coalition to find out what other people are doing and see if there's something that we could all work on together, which is where the idea of some kind of a green event has kind of been tossed around for a couple of meetings now. I take it that's still kind of in limbo at this point, though. They didn't set a date or anything, did they?
No.
Because you should tell us if they did.
No, they did not, actually. They're still trying to piece it together and try to figure out who's gonna coordinate what and all that, so it's still kind of up in the air.
Okay, well, as most things, there is a problem with attendance just because it's hard to get people together at any given time, as we all know.
Yep.
So if we all did just one thing with our lives, Yeah.
And
Okay.
they said too, a lot of the problems is that a lot of the people that come to the meetings, their job descriptions aren't purely sustainability. There's, they're kind of like me, working on different things.
Yeah, you're one of those
Oh,
10
offices.
percenters for us, yeah.
Sure, so that's another problem that they face as a group, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you for going. I appreciate it,
Yeah,
and
no
I'm
problem.
sorry I wasn't able to make it. Then we have a farmer's market reminder that we have our first farmer's market next Saturday,
Yeah,
correct?
June 10th, I believe.
And Robert is down for that.
And I think Ryan was on the list too.
Okay, we need to double check with Ryan and make sure he's still planning to do that. If not, I don't want you to have to do it yourself, Robert. That would be nuts.
It's
No.
Amish cookie, so it's all right.
Yeah.
Well, but we'll find out if he can make it or not, and then we'll.
Figure that I'll do it.
Well, I am. I'm counting on you.
Show up and do that, so.
Okay. Well, it is wonderful when we're there because we learn lots from people and they learn a little something from us, hopefully. So, okay. And also, we have another opportunity for outreach that I'm just going to kind of slip in here because it's not really a reminder, but the zoo has contacted us again this year and asked us to participate in, do you have a note on that, Stephen? What was that? They,
Conservation Carnival?
yeah.
That was
yeah.
what, July 22nd?
Thank you. July 22nd, which is a Saturday, the Conservation Carnival. We've participated, I think, twice in the past. It's basically an event at the zoo where different tables are set up throughout the zoo, and as families come through, we give them the opportunity to create a switch plate cover that, reminds them to turn off the light or whatever. And there are several different, it's a little different from a sustainability fair or from a farmer's market in that it's reaching some different people. But we would need at least, I would say we'd probably need 2 volunteers for that on July 22nd.
How long does it go?
It runs from 10 till 2, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So it would be,
So it's not an all-day thing.
no. Well, it probably feels like all day by the time it gets to be 2 o'clock, but no. The time I did it, it was really a lot of fun, and I thought so. And did you did
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot like the farmer's market. It's just a little shorter. And I believe they supplied the table too. So all we had to do was take our box of information with us and our fun stamps and markers and things.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is it's mostly something for kids. So we have those switch plate covers that they can decorate with stamps and markers and different things like
Sure.
that. So it's just a way to get kids involved in thinking about sustainability and different things like that, so.
And while they're
Pretty
doing that,
low-key.
we have the opportunity to share the rest of our information with their parents too.
Exactly. Yep. If their kids are coloring, we can talk to their parents.
Yes.
Aha, we trapped them.
It's almost like we planned that. Okay, it doesn't look like our speaker is going to get here in time. Would you like to give us an overview of what you understand for number 4? The Rotary Club Environmental Committee has a proposal for us, but
Sure.
you
And I
have to
know
talk to her.
Yep, I've been working with, talking to Ken Friedman, and I know Bill Sturm from the city is on the environmental committee. Vicki Redlin is actually the person that was gonna come, and she's on the committee also. And we've been talking about the creation of a sustainability award, and I know I talked to Margie about it briefly, but they want to recognize the people and organizations that do a lot for the environment. And there were some questions that came up in terms of what would the nomination or the judging process be for such an award? What would the forum for, conferring the award, what would that forum be? Would it happen at State of the City? Would it happen at a Rotary meeting? Is there some other meeting that might be better for it? Where would you do it? Would the city or would the Rotary Club sponsor the award? And would the city or Rotary present the award? Who would take ownership? Who would do it? And then I think, would it just be 1 or 2 awards, or how many? So that, those were some of the things that came up, and those are things that they were gonna run by us here, run by all of you and see what you had to say, if you had input. I think you mentioned it was in the plan, Margie, in the sustainability plan it was a goal.
Yes, we did hope that we'd be able to recognize people in the hopes that that would get more people participating.
I think it's a great idea.
It is, yeah.
And you could do one for business and individuals if you wanted to do more than one. And I think because the state of the city gets a lot of publicity, you could do that, but it doesn't mean that Rotary couldn't also make
Sure.
an award and then it would go on. So I think that's wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, I think doing it at the state of the city and having the city do it and take ownership, I think that would be really cool to be able to see that.
Sure.
And I think we could do, city nonprofit organizations, 501c3s and, individuals, anything like that. I think, that would be really neat if we were able to do that. I mean, if that's something that we could add to the state of the city, I think that would really show the city's commitment to sustainability.
I think that'd be a win-win situation. So
Yes.
this city could, when people come in and say, what are you doing about sustainability? They'd say, well, this and this and this. The other thing is who would do the judging, and it could be the sustainability board.
Yeah,
You
and
know, it
could
would be a
based off-
logical thing.
Yeah, and maybe based off what the city wants to do for sustainability, off our sustainability plan, how many things they're, meeting.
Which would be part of
But this
setting up the
will-
criteria for it.
Yeah.
So we'd have to work on, and I would
Point
think
system.
probably in partnership with the Rotary, we could
Oh, yeah.
set up the criteria.
Of course.
We could further refine this as we go. I'm sure there'll be further discussions, if the state of the city didn't work, maybe an alternative event or a venue, depending, but.
Well, and between what you two said, I'd actually suggest maybe 3 awards, one for individual or residential, one for businesses, and one for nonprofits. Because I see business and nonprofit, often the money they have to put into that is so different that their goals and what they can do might be very different too. So I think it might be important to recognize both of them. I don't know, what do you guys think?
We have a
Makes
list
sense.
of nonprofits that we can get.
I'm sure we can, yeah.
I can know of 1 or 2 or 3, but I'm sure there are lots and lots and lots that I don't know about.
Well, and we could, we could also write an article for the Northwestern to publish telling people we're doing this, and they could contact us if they wish to apply or to apply for someone. I mean, I could apply and say Michelle is awesome, give her an award. Or I could apply and say
Nomination.
Margie's even better, give her the award, so.
And then it's a neat topic, we spend a lot of time on it, but people would need to know what they're being graded on. So what we're
Yeah.
graded on should be available to people who are thinking, should I apply or not apply?
You're right, so we need to publish the criteria along with what groups we're looking for it.
Yep, and it should be simple enough that anybody be able to understand it and apply for individuals, businesses.
Right.
Yes,
Profits.
exactly.
Great idea.
Yeah, it shouldn't be as bad as writing a grant, for example. It should be more like filling out the form for your driver's license or something.
I was thinking even, going through a sustainability plan, because that's rather lengthy. That'd be so much. So we have to, refine the criteria a little bit. and talk to
I don't
Rotary.
know, I think I kind of like that whole idea of them going through our plan.
Right?
Think of the ideas
They
people
have to
can get.
know what we're looking for.
Okay. So, we're thinking we'd like to talk to the Rotary about setting the criteria as a partnership. Probably the judging could be done as a partnership also.
Sure.
I think so.
And we would be loving it if it was at State of the City, because we see that as a natural venue for it, format for it. And we're suggesting 3 awards for individual or residential, business for profit, and nonprofit. Yeah? Okay, is there anything I missed there? Okay, wow.
That would be the Southwest Rotary, or would it be a combined 2 or 3 Rotaries?
I think it would be the environmental committee, probably be the Southwest.
They've done a lot along those lines. They had the beautification committee, and they've given awards before.
And they mentioned that, they did send me some of the past beautification awards over the past several years. So they did talk about, like they have the environmental beautification awards through the Southwest Rotary, so
Right.
that, yep. So they did go into that a little bit at the last Rotary meeting I went to.
Okay, Southwest Rotary. Is that the one that, where do they meet?
Wednesday,
Wednesday at noon?
yeah, and I think they may come to the downtown Best Western. They used to be at Robbins, but of course that's gone. So I don't know where they are now.
Okay, I know I had attended one that was there, but I didn't remember. I just remembered Rotary. I didn't remember which one. Okay. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that? You looked like you had a thought on that, Adam, no?
On the Rotary?
Yeah? No? Okay, just checking. Didn't want to pass you by. Okay, that takes us down to our agenda items for our next meeting. And that we've already decided we want to work on 2018 goals for the green tier, right? That we would all be taking a look at as we're doing other things.
And is our next meeting,
Our next meeting will
August.
not be in July, it will be in August, because it conflicts with the 4th of July holiday.
Another item that my supervisor Darren actually had asked is for us to put complete streets on the agenda.
He wants us to fix all the streets?
He wants he wants us to include complete streets, the concept of it, and address that. And I'll talk to some more about that, but that was just something that he wanted to run by SAB.
Say it again, what kind of streets?
Complete streets?
Complete.
Yep.
Is
And
this
so-
a road diet where it
It's
has,
like kind of accounting for like pedestrians, bicyclists, like all road users. That's one aspect of it. I know it's coming up in a lot of our long-term plans, and then, obviously our bicycle and pedestrian plan is gonna have to be updated, our sustainability plan, so it could pertain to all of those.
okay.
Um,
Would he want to give
a
us
new
a
term to me.
presentation on it?
he could come in, I think.
We'd either need a presentation or a lot of advanced material,
Yeah, I can
or
either,
both.
when I put it on the agenda, I'll either make sure I
Yeah.
have some stuff from him, or I can see if he can make it in. I mean, I don't wanna commit him, obviously, to coming in before, I hear from him, but I can bring some background on it. It's just,
Is this a term you're familiar with, Adam? Haven't heard it either, okay. So basically, none of us have heard of it, so we need a
Sure.
lot of info.
sure, that's
right,
fine.
and we don't have a meeting next month, so even if we got some in the meantime to be able to
Yeah.
digest the
Mhm.
materials and read it over before the next meeting too, just so we have an idea before, going
We
to-
could all plan on the 4th of July to spend an hour and a half at 6 o'clock reading through our green materials.
Sure, I can get that. I'll talk to Darren some more about that and about putting it on the agenda, and then I'll get some materials, some background on it to try to get
Just,
people
no,
informed.
email it out, and
Sure,
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And I'd like to, ideally throughout these months, I'd like to have the shoreline restoration efforts, just an update. So that I could talk about what you've been doing and that kind of stuff, and talk about upcoming events and that kind of deal, so, yeah.
I think that probably because that would be an agenda item ongoing, but because you weren't here last month when it was on the agenda, if you'd like to give us an update on, say, what happened a week or so ago and how wonderful that was.
Of course. So, it was, what was that, the 17th? No,
No, it was the 28th or something.
I have that on there. Time is a funny thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it just keeps
goes
moving is the
so
problem.
Quickly. It was May 27th.
27th,
May
yeah.
27th. We had a big dig day at our site where we there's a tree that had died that had been removed, and we had the stump removed last season, so we can put in a viewing area. The Oshkosh Garden Club has sponsored a bench to be put in the viewing area. So we wanted to clear out the space where they're going to be tearing out to put in the bench and pathway. So we had a crew of people that were amazing and volunteered to dig up these plants. And then there's a new site that's in the middle of the 600 block of Nicolay Avenue, where there's a prairie that we're putting in with all of these plants that we're taking out from this site. So that was started, and it's going to be an ongoing thing where we can keep donating plants as we move on specific species in different areas of our site to the Nicolay Avenue site, so we can keep introducing more low-growing plants and just doing a few different things with the site itself.
And keep urging the Northwestern to go and take photographs and write a little article about that.
Sure. Well, we're going to have, there's going to be something coming up. Actually, this past weekend, I actually just went out and trimmed a lot of what's going to be the lower growth area, the viewing area, so we can see how that's going to grow over time. And it hopefully will look beautiful for our the garden walk. The Oshkosh Garden Club has invited us to be a part of the Oshkosh Garden Walk on Sunday, June 25th.
Good for you.
So, yep, that'll be going on from noon to 5. So if anybody would like to come out, feel free to join us. And we'll have information there on all the other garden walk sites. And you can find some more information on the Oshkosh Garden Club website. So please feel free to join us. That would be a lot of fun. We have a work day the week before that. So that would be the 18th, I believe, but let me...
18th.
Yeah, so the 17th, we're going to have a cleanup day at the Miller's Bay site from 9 a.m. to noon. It might not go that long, but we just want to make sure to clean up the trail so it's easy for everybody to walk in there and just make sure it looks really pretty for the garden walk. So feel free to join us for that. You don't have to have any previous experience, anything like that. We have extra tools available and extra gloves, so just feel free to come on out. We can give you direction
And you have expertise available so that people know what to pull and what to leave there.
Yep. And that's,
Which is
I mean,
good.
honestly, well, I have a little bit, not all of it, but that's how I started. Honestly, I had no idea what anything was. It's like, okay, good. Now I know what stinging nettle looks like. No, no, there's really not that. There's a little bit. So, we're willing to work with people, and then you really get to identify plants and really know your surroundings and different things. It's really cool.
And you didn't really give proper credit. There were two teams. There was a team at Menominee, and there was there was another team at Nicolay. So lots of people, lots of man hours went into that, and a lot of I saw a lot of sweat happening. It wasn't happening on me because I wasn't working that hard, but
you did a lot of work though. You
I
had
drove
the truck.
back and forth.
Yes, you were the transporter of plants, and I have to get a lot of credit to the Oshkosh Housing Authority, who is the organization that owns the property where the site is going in, and they're the ones that initiated the site to be available for us, and have been doing that end of it. So that's a really great partnership and something cool that we love to sponsor with different organizations and help them get their own prairie started and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, this has all been quite a success, and thank you for all your work with it, Michelle. I know you give a lot of hours to it.
thank you for your support.
Is there anything else we'd like to see at a future meeting? Is your list complete, Stephen?
I think it is.
Okay.
As of now.
Mine is, and the rest of us, we just will continue to work on the things that we've been working on, of course. And so our next meeting will be on Monday, August 4th, which is 2 months from now. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn to work session.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's do it.